it's going to immediately go into the pockets of Elk.
Yes, Elk would love to be able to play this one. There's a reason that BLG were banning it in all of the previous games. WE, they recognize that. They are going to take it off of the board, and instead they're going to go towards Bin, giving him his Renekton nice and early. Relatively safe blind pick, especially at the point now where you know you're not going to end up with a Rumble into your face or an Ambessa into your face. You can chill on this champion just a little bit more. It does give Cube a nice bit of counter pick if he wants to grab himself his top laner nice and early on. In terms of very strong champions still left on the board, we're kind of running out of them, right? There's not so much that you would be looking towards as being really high priority. The Vi, I think, is one of those remaining options if you want to go towards it. Interesting that he wants to take the Aatrox here. The Aatrox matchup into the Renekton's good, but very early on to be grabbing it. It doesn't give you anywhere near as much in your overall team fights unless you can get really far ahead, and Bin will have picked the Renekton fully aware that Cube likes the Aatrox, has this in his back pocket, so I'm not surprised if Bin's perfectly chill for this to have been picked into him.
Alright, we're going to see the Caitlyn lock-in going over to Taeyoon. Undefeated on this Caitlyn so far in Split 3. I really like the way Team WE play with a Caitlyn on their side. They very much index into making sure that Taeyoon is able to grab 3, 4, sometimes first brick on a turret. So I am curious to see what they elect to pair in that bot lane and what kind of jungler we're going to see out of Monki to supplement that, because we were expecting a carry out of him in this game, and you know, if you have to give so many resources to your AD carry, you might not be able to play that kind of archetype out of the jungle.
Absolutely. WE, they basically always pair this up alongside the Braum, so I wouldn't be surprised if the Braum is going to be locked in right here for WE. I think if you leave it to the second rotation of bans, that one's going to be taken off of the board. This would be wildly aggressive. Yeah, I mean, slam the Braum in this situation. Thank you very much. It works really well into the Xayah. You could stop a lot of that Feather Storm from coming through. It'll also mean you have to think very carefully as Knight about what you want to play to make sure it doesn't also just get stopped by that Braum shield. Still, I'm very happy for BLG to have been able to pick up this Xayah Rakan. I think it's an incredibly strong pairing at the moment. The Xayah's in a great spot, but the Rakan, super strong. And alongside a Renekton, those are some dive buddies that can get into the backline very easily to buy that space for Knight and Elk to be able to do their thing.
Speaking of Knight, still yet to see what he has picked, so we'll see eventually what he has in these pockets. We know that the Ziggs is a very reliable champion for him, and you know, if WE are going to index into this Caitlyn, perhaps BLG will elect to do the same with a Knight Ziggs and try to play around him a little bit.
I find it very interesting here that that's going to be a Yone ban. Were they really expecting BLG to decide to go for that full AD composition? Did they think Shadow had something particularly AP focused that he would want to grab for himself here? Looks like they want to pair up the Sejuani alongside the Braum. We usually see the Sedge with the Yone, but I do really like this. It gives you a ton of extra just CC availability, and it works well alongside that Aatrox too. It's going to be very hard to move around in these team fights as BLG. BLG now, what do you want to play into this one? Knight's champion pool hasn't been pinched particularly hard. He's not had any real bans coming into him right now. He doesn't know what he's playing into, of course. Ooh, dive.
We're gonna go and select
extra
here.
dive.
Okay, yeah, we're just going full dive here.
Yeah.
I like this a lot, and mostly because I think the Sejuani pick becomes really big for WE now, because with them taking Sejuani here, it leaves the door open for a backdoor Sylas if you see a good angle for it, because you can already take the Rakan ultimate. So we'll see what Knight ends up picking up, and if it's something that Karis fancies himself. I wouldn't be too surprised to see the Yanni here, especially into 3 melee champions. You can maybe find a surprise angle onto the Caitlyn, and that will be Knight's lock-in.
Is going to be the Annie locked in, and yeah, Knight has been looking really strong on this one recently. In terms of things that Karis plays that were good into it, he doesn't really have that much available to him. He does like to play these slightly more aggressive pickups. I did like the hover of the Akali, but I don't think it works particularly well into this composition. I think you need something that can sit further back. The Hui fits that archetype a lot better. I think if the Mel was still available and wasn't taken off of the board completely for everybody, the Mel could have been nice in this situation, but the Hui, I think it fits, right? The Hui and the Caitlyn can both sit really far back. You don't have to worry about getting too close to this, and you've got yourself a very strong front line for WE that can just sit in front of you and buy you that space.
And not only that, it's going to require a large amount of investment on BLG to actually get to these carries because they're so long-ranged, right? Every little bit that you have to go deeper into the backline is more that you need Bin to get to this backline, is more that you need On to get to this backline, right? And if WE are able to fade back the protection that Vampire can provide as well, if you can keep the pocket clean for Karis and Taeyoon, to use a football analogy, and really keep these divers away, they are going to succeed. The thing is, their objective setups are going to have to be very clean.
Yeah, exactly, because over on the side of BLG, they've got so much dive potential right here between the Rakan, the Renekton, and of course the Nocturne, and being able to turn the lights out, I think is going to be a big part of the game plan right here. You have to make sure that you can get onto these key backline carries, and so as Karis and Taeyoon, you're going to have to make sure you're very close to your friends. Don't get separated, because the second you do, and Shadow sees that you're alone, immediately going to be popping that paranoia, jumping into the backline and trying to pick up these kills. Still, that does make me a little bit worried for the life of Knight. Obviously, Elk, he's got himself that ult, he can jump up into the Featherstorm and keep himself safe, but Annie, very squishy, very immobile. If you do all go jumping into the backline, that can leave Knight available to get dove very easily.
Our Super Saturday has kicked off with a bang, Bloxxer. Remember, we do have 2 more games today. Weibo Gaming and Top Esports, and JDG and IG. Cube, I've seen this before on another player. We're going to go flash for flash as Shadow was the first one to burn his.
Interesting that they're going to go as aggressive for this play, but I can understand it, right? Going to get a good bit of damage right here onto Cube, and having that flash away from the Aatrox makes this a much scarier lane to play out into the Renekton. All of a sudden, Bin, he can potentially look to get aggressive, to potentially try to find himself a solo kill in this lane, and if you do want to re-engage that gank, go for it again from Shadow. Going to make that a lot easier to do as well.
Oh, this is so big.
Oh, this is so scary right here.
Oh, the sweep.
Sweeping late.
Oh, is it going to run out? Can you spot him? All right, it doesn't matter. You just take a bunch of damage for 0. This is really, really good for WE. I like the way they're setting up for their bot lane here, trying to get themselves advantaged. Keep in mind, double Spellbook on the side of WE, and both of these Spellbook users can pull TPs out of thin air, so this is something we'll have to watch out for later. Is On and Elk try to aggress, but they just take so much on the way back. Heal getting burnt, On in trouble.
Yikes.
BLG have to use their heal in the bot lane as well.
Yeah, this is the thing. You're perfectly happy to use that heal right here as Vampire. Shadow now going aggressive here onto Monki. Obviously, Shadow, without the flash, is going to find himself in a slightly harder position to really play this one out. Monki.
Wrap around. All right, Shadow with the spell shield. Monki is going to be able to hop over the wall and get out.
Yep, is just going to be able to survive. Puts him a little bit delayed on being able to pick up a couple more of these camps, but really not going to be the end of the world. Instead, Myers just keep coming down to this bot lane. It's been explosive this entire series so far, Yanni. And this is the thing, right? You get that little bit of extra vision because of the aggression down in the bottom side of the map, and that lends you to be able to push Elk and On out of this lane. Just makes it so rough to try play out. Right, so they took opposite chickens while we were watching the skirmishing in the bot lane.
They did manage to get a ward down in that tri-brush, so they're going to be very aware. Shadow elects to move over, but given the fact that he is a Nocturne, it looks like they will play for an early, or as fast as possible, level 6.
This is the way that you have to play right here for the Caitlyn. The Caitlyn needs to just absorb tower plates. Honestly, it feels like it's even more important for a Caitlyn to absorb a bunch of tower plates during the early laning phase than it is for someone like the Ziggs to be able to. And you can see the tag between Vampire and Taeyoon right now. They're just keeping the pressure up. On already had to head back to base. As many tower plates as you can get into this Caitlyn is critical. Still, Shadow right here attempting to steal away this red buff. Monki more than aware that this is happening, but doesn't really have the backup to be able to play around it, right? Cube without the flash has been pushed underneath his tower. Yanni's got push as well.
Oh, nice tag on the Elk.
Oh my.
Force the flash away is Taeyoon and Vampire. They're playing this lane so well. 24 CS to 9.
And you just can't step up. This doesn't get better for you the later into the game you get until you hit level 6, and that feels a very long way away right now for the BLG bot lane. The pressure just continues. That first turret plate gonna go over right here. And this is already Taeyoon rolling. If we wanted to see WE being able to pick themselves up a win, this was some of the lanes that they needed to get moving, and they already have. Monki misses the Arctic Assault, not going to be ideal in that situation, but I don't think it necessarily matters. His presence here just pushes people away.
Now Karis was up a little bit too far forward. He does have his flash available. Looks like he'll burn it over the wall, but a good gank from Shadow.
Teleport coming in right here, and this is going to be the teleport of Bin. BLG just swapping out their bot lane, trying to get them a freer lane here into Cube, but this is going to be miserable for Bin. Bin's not going to have a good time in this situation either, right? And this isn't an Ornn, this isn't a Scion or a Cho'Gath where you don't mind them just getting pushed around. You want your Renekton to be in a strong position, especially into the Aatrox where he was able to find himself a lot of pressure in this lane to all of a sudden get kind of thrown to the wolves. Not ideal. Still, reset's going to come through. Interesting to see if Cube's just going to push this wave and then head back to base. Yeah, they're just going to swap this one back out. They want to keep Taeyoon in the lane with Elk. Make sure Elk can off CS. 15 to 40.
Nice job there by On to delay Cube's back here with no teleport either. It means he is going to lose a full wave. This is what happens when you have lazy backing, right? And this is going to allow Bin to really amass a large lead in this straight-up 1v1.
So they're just going to be able to keep pushing this one on through. Bin, because of all of this swapping shenanigans, because the delay on Cube is going to be able to pick himself up by tower plate. So Bin still getting away with this one, putting himself into a decent spot. Very critical right here for BLG. They don't want to be falling behind in all of these lanes. We've obviously got that first Drake up and available. Going to be an Infernal Drake. Not really expecting either of these junglers to be aggressing onto that one too much at the moment, especially not while their bot lanes are top side of the map. I wonder if Taeyoon can grab himself another turret plate here whilst they're up in the top side.
Just doing what he can to get as much damage down as possible. We do have a dragon up on the bottom side. 2 minutes to grubs. And you know that Team WE are going to really want these grubs badly. Take advantage of the long range that Taeyoon has and the siege that they can potentially have later with Karis out of the mid lane. Monki is going to show up. We'll burn the exhaust on the Knight. At least try to get some summoner out of him. And they will. Spiraling Despair going to land as well. And do some pretty solid damage.
Yeah, it's a huge chunk taken out of Knight right here. If you now do want to go and compete around this Drake, it's going to be a little bit harder with your Annie so chunked out. Still, it doesn't really seem like that's going to be the plan. Monki instead heads up towards his chickens. And Shadow going to grab himself that Scuttle Crab down in the bottom side. A little bit of extra vision around that Drake going on forward. Shadow, level 5 right now. We'll see when he's going to tick over to that level 6. Critical spell to unlock for him to really get this game rolling for BLG.
Yeah, and we saw on the Pantheon that he was really able to get the job done there. Oh, we're going to see a full engage. Taeyoon is low. Taeyoon is going to die. Hold on, he's still alive, but he will finally fall. And the question is, will Vampire be able to escape with his life? It looks like he will, but the BLG bot lane stand tall.
And this is the thing, right? You win because of the poke, because of landing that Winter's Bite and then being able to jump onto people. You outrange the Xayah massively, but as soon as Ornn's actually able to get involved, as soon as he's able to jump forward, land
the flash!
himself...
Ignite!
What?
Elk
He's
is
dead!
dead! Vampire!
What?
You beauty!
Yikes. Okay. Well, all of what I said, but then greed. Greed right here from BLG. It takes to Elk an extra 4 seconds maximum to go walk back underneath his tower and keep himself alive. We'll see what it is here. It should just be that little grand entrance. Ooh. Yeah, lands onto 2 of them. Really nice to pull the feathers back, stun, grand entrance to get the knock up. And yeah, at that point, it's kind of nothing you can do. And this is really unfortunate for Taeyoon and Vampire. All of the pressure that they've had, and they were only able to grab themselves a kill onto Vampire. And the second that you get that level 6 for BLG's bot lane, all of that pressure you had kind of goes away.
Now this means that BLG are going to be the ones who are able to get on these grubs. There's nothing that Team WE can do because of that lack of pressure. Taking them away means that you can take so much power out as they're going to go all in here onto Karis. The Protector Vampire does not have the ability to save him. On gets credit for the kill, but now the rest of WE have collapsed. They're going to be able to find Shadow in a 1-for-1, and now On is stuck in no man's land, but it looks like they will let him off the hook.
Yeah, he's just going to be able to recall back out of that one, another 1-for-1, but you're going to be more than happy with that trade as WE, as now you've got some nice pressure up towards the top side. Elk have to turn tail and run. Does have the Feather Storm.
Nice.
Oh, good dodge. Really fancy feat right there. Still going to take a good chunk of damage. Isn't the hole just going to come through from Taeyoon for a bit more poke? That does establish some control around this set of grubs if you want to go towards it for WE. Looks like they don't want to aggress onto this one too much.
Shadow is going to immediately make a beeline back up. On is only level 5 right now. The grubs have been started up. He is going to fade toward mid lane because Knight does have the advantage there. Vampire, no summoner spell available right now. Monki is going to move down, and Karis is too. BLG are going to look to group up. Knight does have Tippers available if he wants to do something, but they are down a man right now.
No.
So it looks like WE will be able to secure themselves some of these grubs. They are getting low. Who's going to get them? It's 1-for-1. Monki whiffing the ultimate.
Oh, no!
And Smithy making an appearance in the LPL. Spiraling Despair down, but it ain't going to help. Monkey's going to be the next target as Elk flashes forward after him. And Monki will be able to flash out a 1-0 in the end for BLG. They managed to grab 2 of the grubs.
Oh, crazy little engage right there. So unfortunate from Monki that he just jumps forwards and completely whiffs right there on the Glacial Prison. And that's the immediate go in button. On flies on in once again. Lands himself a great grand entrance. And from that moment on, you can keep playing that fight forwards. Unfortunate from Elk as well that he flashes forwards and isn't able to pick up that kill. Missed a couple of the double daggers, which just immediately kills any chance of him being able to pick that one up. Still, the pressure is now going to come through. And this is what we're talking about, right? Taeyoon and Vampire, they have such a great level 6, but the second that you actually get there, at that point things kind of begin to fall off. And BLG, they've weathered the storm and actually they've come through it absolutely fine.
Yeah, and one thing that we haven't really talked about, aside from that moment where Cube's back got stopped, look at this lead in the bot lane. Just purely off CS. Obviously, Cube's got a wave coming into him of like, what, 6 minions. So right now, you've got a really good-sized lead for yourself of about 20, which is really putting in a lot of heavy lifting. Taeyoon and Vampire haven't been able to get that second plate yet. It looks like they're going to be able to finally do so now. You only have 3 minutes left to try to squeeze whatever you can out of these turrets while you still have this Caitlyn advantage.
And the more turret plates that you can feed into a Caitlyn, the further ahead she's going to get, and the more she's going to be doming people during these later game team fights. With all of the priority around the top side of the map, though, that first Drake is still up and standing. It's been alive for a very long time. Be interested to see if anybody actually turns around and looks at it. We do have the junglers on the bottom side, but their bot lanes are still top.
What do you think Dragon likes to do in his downtime? Maybe, what do you think Infernal Drake likes to do? Because they all have different personalities.
Oh, Infernal Drake likes to find the nearest village and raze it to the ground immediately.
There is no village. Wrong game, buddy.
Hey, there's got to be one just off the edge of Summoner's Rift, right? You know, there's a whole world out there. They can fly.
Summoner's Rift is its own little sandbox. If you were a lore knower, and I know the lore doesn't exist anymore.
They killed that.
So sad, so sad. BLG, again, as you mentioned, just weathering the storm a little bit here. We did see Shadow make an immediate impact. Keep in mind his ultimate is up. We see a lot of blue pings up toward the top side. You can already see Knight on the way. So is Shadow, perhaps ready to use that paranoia. No vision on the WE bot lane right now, but On is going to step up. They're going to try to go all in, and here he goes. They're going to follow it up too. Double taunts. Knight flashes over. They drop the kitchen sink on WE, and Vampire is stuck under the turret.
And they might be able to get him out of this one.
Oh, they're using Tibbers.
Tibbers gonna be the MVP of this situation. There's
salute,
no
Tibbers.
Way. Yeah,
07 salute.
No way to be able to get out of that situation. The second that Vampire missed with that ulti, it was gonna be done. Another brilliant engage right there from On. And this is what we wanted to see. This is why I was so excited when we saw this Xayah Rakan locked in. Elk's great with the Xayah, but On, he's on another level with the Rakan.
Just absolutely beautiful engage. We are going to see a TP on the backside. WE going to look for a revenge play here. They're going to target out Elk, but another teleport coming in. It's the Renekton that's going to be coming through. He's already on the way up. Elk desperately trying to escape, and he will as BLG shut down the play.
And the teleport in from Bin isn't even going to be wasted. He wanted to take over this lane in the first place. Going to be a nice little bit of rotation, and the fact that you don't lose out onto any of those kills, despite the fact that WE were flinging themselves forwards for it. Now, what happens here? Winterspite misses.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah,
and you got the vision down.
Misses, and that's so unfortunate. Yeah, immediately gives you that little bit that you need to go flying in with the paranoia. And yeah, like you said, salute to Tibbers. As we jump back to live, top laners are going to be fighting a little bit. Now that you've got your bot lanes on the bot side of the map, surely Drake is going to be looked at.
Yep, Team WE are going to be the ones starting that one up. And if they can secure it, I think that might be their only win condition at this point. There's no more plates to take, so you may as well send your Caitlyn over to get the trap line down to make sure that On can't find a way in, given the fact that Shadow is taking it back, even with Paranoia up. Looks like they're not overly interested. Meanwhile, Dominus popped up on the top side. His Cube's flash is forced.
And it doesn't look like BLG want to contest onto this one at all. Nice easy pickup for WE. Grab themselves that initial Drake. With the Drake taken here at 14 minutes, 30 seconds into the game. This is going to be very, very late for the Soul, especially if BLG are able to grab themselves one back. Might make it a bit of a non-factor in this game. Support's going to do a little bit of supportive combat right now. Neither of their ADCs are at all interested in getting involved. Just going to be these waves being shoved on through. Top lane, Bin going to be able to take down this first brick as well. And that is going to be the feats picked up here for BLG.
Yeah, they are really dominating, really, after that early mistake that Team WE made, where Elk and On were able to get the kill. Anything that Team WE wanted to do has just been mired and unable to really make any sort of positive action in this game. Rift Herald is getting soloed up by Shadow right now, and Team WE are maybe looking toward getting this turn on the bottom side. They're going to invest the Sejuani teleport for it just to secure it. So, I mean, I can respect it. You get some gold over. You have to do something on the side lane.
Absolutely. You really need to just keep yourself afloat in this game. Down by about 2,000 gold. It's not a monumental gap. You've not gotten so far away that BLG have completely won this game already. But it does mean that WE, they need to fight for all the scraps that they can. They need to keep themselves as level in terms of items as possible. Monki has gone towards that Heartsteel. There's been a lot of discussion about Heartsteel recently, whether it's useful or not. We'll track to see how many stacks Monki's actually going to be able to grab for himself, to see if it's really going to be worthwhile. Still, first items coming through across the board. Interesting to get that double stride breaker between Bin and Shadow. If those two can get into the backline, there is no escaping their dive.
Yeah, we did talk about it, right? It's up to Vampire and Monki and Cube, peeling back if they can protect Karis and Taeyoon and keep it clean. But
exactly.
Yeah, good shout with the stride breakers, because you can't do that at that. It's just not possible.
Yeah, it's so tricky to try to get away. Bot lane tower is going to go down. It looks like WE are angling for a fight.
Cube is just diffing. Getting diffed, I'm sorry, by Bin. As Giga Bin has fully returned, I think. Bloxxer, he is really playing well.
Yeah, brief hiatus in the previous game, but even then he was definitely not the problem in that one. Now aggression coming through.
Right, here we go. Yeah, we've gotten onto the Karis. Karis, he has the flash of the wall. Here comes Knight.
Oh,
Knight! The top once again, wiping away Team WE. And all Taeyoon can do is run for the hills as BLG menacingly will force him back to the turret. And they'll even look for more. Cleanse, used, doesn't matter because the Croc will eat you alive.
There we go. 3, 4 quick kills right there for WE. So for BLG, they're going to be able to turn this one into the tier 1 tower in the mid lane as well. And it's just falling apart for WE. They think they found themselves the angle. They don't expect the Annie over the wall. Right, what happened here?
What happened? Okay.
Is the
Cube
answer
just has no flash?
Bin walks at him?
Yeah. Cube has no flash, did not respect Bin.
Bin walks at him.
Wipe your hands of it, clean it up.
Yep. It happens. It happens. At some point, Bin can just walk at you. Now, in this situation, I was like, he's on a little bit caught out, right? He's getting quite aggressive. Karis does a lot of damage. But the second that the lights get turned off, there's nothing you can do. And 3 members all on top of each other. Flash. Slam your buttons. It's the Annie combo of all time. And that's going to be a really nice team fight. And this is what we wanted to see out of Knight, right? We've been discussing throughout this entire series that Knight's been having a bit of a rough time. 3-0-3 right here on the Annie. Really nice play there to get over the wall and just destroy any hopes of WE in winning that team fight. This is the comeback we needed to see from him.
I will say, WE has made it very easy on him in some of these fights.
Yeah.
They have grouped up when they shouldn't group up. They're French frying when they need to pizza. And, Knight just looks at him and is like, I have flash. I have stun. Okay, I guess I'm going to hit him.
Like I said,
they're making it very easy on
time.
him. But he is making the plays happen. He's being very decisive, very snappy.
Exactly. We can only expect so much of him, right? There's only so much that you can do on the Annie. There's only so much flashiness that you can pull out. And he is using this champion to the best of its abilities right now. Malignant's completed for him. We'll see what his second item is going to be as well. Should be getting that very soon. These champions are pretty far ahead. Second item's well on the way for a couple of these BLG members. For WE, they're really just competing for scraps. 6,000 gold is the disadvantage. And because that first Drake gets taken so late on in the game, they can't even really use Drake stacking as a win condition.
Oh, you have to try, right? I don't think that... I don't think it gets any easier from here. I suppose if you get to 6 items, maybe, but with the go buttons, I don't think they're going to let you get there. And they hit the go buttons. They hit the support as Vampire will fall shortly. Bin is forced off to the side, and he will go walk around as Vampire has realized. He waves his white flag, and he falls too.
He's just delaying his recall at that point. It's going to be another nice little bit of engage, and this is what BLG can do with the composition with a couple of snap engage tools. I really like the Nocturne paired up alongside the Rakan. People often talk, right, about pairing the Nocturne up alongside extra damage backline threats, you know, the Kai'Sa being in your lane, so you can dive in with them. You don't really need it. You have enough damage between the Nocturne and the Rakan to start things off, and you can follow it up well enough with these remaining carries for BLG. So far, they've got themselves into a great spot in this game. Atakan is up in the top side of the map. I think BLG could start this one up relatively easily without worrying, but we've seen anytime BLG get themselves into leads, they like to play slowly. They don't like to over-aggress. They want to make sure that they close this game out cleanly.
Yeah, because they have made a couple of mistakes in past games, even in this split, where we've seen them, yeah, you know, you made a little bit of an oopsie here, and if they can just slow the pace down, there's no need for them to do anything more at this point, other than just hang out and take advantage of the angles that WE are giving you. Because of how far behind they are, the angles are available. Now, Elk is the one who is forced to burn his cleanse. Herald is going to get that charge in. BLG wisely just keeping things easy because Bin's on the bot side, uncontested.
Shadow stepping up to a bush that he doesn't necessarily know has as many members in it as they do. Yeah, you have to pull the trigger. It's nice that you were able to get that cleanse out of Elk, but then he still has that ulti, right? On goes in. They're just losing space. They're just losing out onto their jungle camps. They're just losing out onto the vision war right now. It's rough out here for WE. They have to find a way to fight back, but so far, not happening.
Lights out, and everybody's home as Knight will blow up Taeyoon. Shadow will follow Monki on the backside. Karis desperately trying to do anything, but he will fall all the same.
WE, they love sending us to a game number 3, but they love losing them too, and that looks like it's going to be the outcome here. BLG, they made it look a little bit trickier than they needed to overall, right? They got pushed around during game 2, they get pushed around in the early bot lane of this game, but the second you get a couple of kills on some of these key carriers, BLG, they just keep on running this one through. Another tower gonna fall. The gold lead extends. At this point, it's 10,000 gold, the advantage for BLG, and they're gonna grab an Atakan, you know, just as a cherry on top.
Just for good measure. You get so many petals, up to 32. Knight has his ego book, his death note. So we take a look at this replay. I mean, I don't know. At one point before this fight, you saw both Knight and Bin on the side lanes.
Yeah.
So you knew it was like a 4v3. I think that's your best opportunity. You just have to try.
Yes. And this is something that WE have struggled with a little bit when they fall behind. Monki still looks like he's trying to find a lot of plays, but the others sometimes do just sit really far back, not keep going, and it really is rough. And, Yanni, it feels so bad to have watched Taeyoon pick himself up, so much early pressure in the bottom lane, a couple of plates, bot and top side, and now to be 1-5 in this game. He just hasn't been able to get this cake going at all.
Oof. Yeah, there's just not much you can do. And when you get behind on Caitlyn, remember, everybody talks about, like, oh, Caitlyn has that really early spike. She's got this mid-game power trough. And then when you start hitting 3 to 4 items is when she really starts coming online. And, of course, she's a 6-item monster, as many other AD carries are. And the problem is you hit that trough, and there's really no way out of it until you just simply get to that 3rd item, that 4th item. And that's just so long, so much inactivity, that in professional play makes it very hard to play this champion if you aren't giga stomping the early game.
And this is the thing, right? This is why getting turret plates into the Caitlyn is so important, because that can help to propel you over that little trough of power. Otherwise, you get stuck in it for so long, and it's also particularly rough because the majority of other ADCs spike really hard at that 2-3 item point. They are coming online at the point at which you are just kind of sat there not really able to do any extra damage, especially something like the Xayah. Yeah, you are down by, what, 40 CS during the early game as Elk, but it doesn't matter. The second that Elk gets 2 items, he's online, and he's able to play the game in a way that Taeyoon simply isn't able to.
BLG just looking to dot their I's and cross their T's in this game. We have not even made it to the 25-minute mark. Baron has still not yet made an appearance, and yet it doesn't really feel like he needs to. He can stay home, take a sick day, mental health day, vacation day, doesn't matter what you want to use. You know, if you want to use PTO to make sure you still get paid, go for it. But he doesn't need to show up. This game could have been an email, Bloxxer.
Yeah, I mean, he's absolutely chilling in this one, and hey, sometimes that's the way that it's got to be. WE. Look at the darkness right here. I love that the observers are showing us this. There's one ward that's now been taken now, and for WE, it's just straight up darkness that they're walking into on jumping forward.
Yeah, why not, man? There's no punishment. There is no punishment.
Nope. Monki doesn't even get that big wolf. They have been completely boxed out of this game.
I love this.
There's a Drake to go and get if you want, but BLG, they know they could just send Shadow to be able to pick this one up. Baron is going to be the prize they really want, though. That's going to allow BLG to finally be able to crack open the base. And the wave clear, I mean, it is there for WE. It's not the worst, but as soon as Baron empowered minions are pouring through, it's going to be incredibly rough. I think if we want to see WE get back into this game, it's going to have to be a legendary fumble from BLG around this Baron.
And you know, I really want to shout out Shadow for a second, because he's just like me. So far ahead, your team at their inner turrets. Me, I do my chickens. Like that is, yep, that bro is a real player right there. You know that guy's a real human being. Because he goes, I could help my team, or I could go get my chickens. I can go clear my camps. Guys, it's 26 minutes in. We're up 10K. I go clear my camps, okay? Thank you.
I respect it. Hey, he doesn't want to get stuck on these 2 items. He wants to be able to do more damage, have more survivability. And how much is he really giving to these pushes either? You don't think WE can jump you right now. And with that paranoia, you can snap engage and get back to your team very quickly. Now he matches up with everybody around this Baron. WE, they are walking into darkness once again, desperately trying to get themselves a little bit of extra vision, know what's going on around this pit.
It would be a straight-up 4v4. We do see On trying to clear a ward, and it looks like WE are going to try to snap onto him.
Alone.
They managed to do so. They burst him out. Nobody's there to help him. And it's going to be a shutdown going over to Taeyoon. Okay.
On
wait. hold on. BLG want this fight. Down below half HP, Knight is ready and waiting over the wall. Teleport coming in. His cube is going to get here first, but he takes so much damage from Elk.
Okay, but this is your moment. This is your moment. On is going to be dead for another 15 seconds. Shadow now doesn't have the paranoia. This is the moment where if you're going to find a fight, if you're going to find a way back into this game as WE, you have got to go right now. But they just don't feel empowered to do so. They just are sitting back, using this time to get themselves a little bit of extra
vision. Oh, this is so dastardly.
Oh, Karis.
This is mean. This is cyberbullying. Karis, watch out. Karis, watch out.
No!
Oh, no.
That's so sad. That's one of those moments where the god vision that we get as observers really, really bites you. And yeah, without Karis available, that is going to be any hope of WE capitalizing on the pick onto On, immediately evaporating in front of their eyes. 2-man Baron going to be picked up by BLG. And with the Rakan back on the map, this is just going to be a push in. The base should be cracked open, and this game should be BLG's.
You ever watch Breaking Bad?
Not. I'm so sorry.
Have you ever seen the meme where like Walter White is in the car yelling?
Yep.
Yelling like that was us right there. Karis, no! Karis,
don't do
don't!
it. Not that push. I mean, it was set up so well from Knight. He knew there was no vision available. He knew Karis was going to want to push that wave through. Yeah, really unfortunate to see.
All right. Well, Elk is taking at least a bit of damage here, but with that top turret down and Ben doing his thing, he's level 18 right now. It's just a matter of time before these turrets begin to fall. As Taeyoon can't even hit this this cannon minion here. Knight is returned to the party. He still has his flash available, by the way. He didn't have to burn it in that last fight. So the Nocturne ult's going to be used just to allow them to take the structure for free.
Yep.
Nice usage there by Shadow.
Absolutely. Shadow being a light switch, exactly what they need. That's going to be the mid lane inhibitor cracked. Top lane wave pouring in. Inhib already down to well below half. And that one's going to be taken off of the board too. Bot lane, the only remaining structures outside of the Nexus towers, and even those are being cracked. The long range wave clear just isn't coming through. WE, they are overpowered at the moment.
It's a wallet diff, bro. They went to the bank. They took out took a withdrawal. They put all the money in their wallet, and it's a fat wallet right now. And they started walking around and shellacking WE with it.
Yeah, 4K across the board pretty much in terms of the advantage. It's so much. The smallest advantage is the ADCs, and it's still 1,000 gold to BLG. Teleport going to come in from Bin. They want to end this game right here, right now.
Wow, yeah, I noticed only 1,000 gold, as you said. Report this elk guy, jeez. he only was down like 30 CS early. I mean, poor guy. Really didn't have a whole lot to do, but it's going to be Elk who gets the last laugh, barring a major miracle. Monki. Oh, man, I don't even want to talk about it. Cuba's going to get fully engaged on. Ana's going to be able to slide out. Not a whole lot of damage happening because of big blocking by Vampire, but Knight finally got in there. Everybody's forced back to the fountain. Taeyoon still alive, but can't say the same for Karis, as Taeyoon will stand in the waters of his fountain and wonder what the heck happened to his game as BLG soundly defeat Team WE 2-1.
Yeah. As BLG, you're going to be a little bit disappointed to have lost out onto that second game, but they began falling behind very quickly in that one and unfortunately couldn't pull it back. But in this third game, completely dismantled WE, and this is the BLG that we have come to expect. 7-0 at this point. They have been absolutely rocking their way through. This has been an incredible performance. Yeah, they've been playing so... Oh, shoot! Okay. Sejuani ult just flew through my window. All right, my bad. All right, we're good. Yes. So anyway, BLG have been performing pretty well. That second game was... That wasn't it. I wish I could feel really good about BLG after this series. Dominating wins, but you cannot drop games like that if you are going to be a top team in this league. If you're going to be a team that we're going to try to take very seriously, especially with all these swaps that you've been doing, and a team that we expect you to perform well at internationals, you must soundly 2-0 WE. You really can't give these games away, because that means that if these lower teams can find, these weaknesses, some of these better teams will too. But the good news, at least for BLG, is they have broken the curse! They have a 6th win with a new jungler that is a new personal best. Yeah. Congratulations to them, and unfortunately for Team WE, this is the part of the season where they're supposed to start really start ramping up and go on a 4 or 5 game run in the middle of the split. And oh no, Bloxxer, losing this game really makes that hard. First round robin, it's chill. Second round robin, tomorrow, their matchup versus BLG. That's where they're going to turn it on, right? If you are a believer in WE, then you really want them to pick things up right now, because if the split were to end today, then you would be seeing a WE up against Ninjas in Pajamas matchup. Now, I do currently think WE are maybe a little bit better than Ninjas in Pajamas. I personally think that goes to 5 games, and I wouldn't ever put money on the line for which way it goes in that 5th game, right? That feels super close at the moment. If things go a little bit odd, maybe, and you manage to get yourself at the bottom spot as WE, and all of a sudden you're facing EDG, EDG are going to Worlds, baby, right? You are not winning that matchup versus EDG at the moment. So for WE, it really is impactful. These Group Nirvana teams are looking better than we've seen in previous splits. And so you don't want to be right here at the bottom of the standings of Group Ascend. So we talked about in Split 2 that, the bottom teams, which were Thundertalk and NIP, those were the farm teams, right? The teams that you need to go and definitely get your wins against, right? And Team WE were able to do that, and unfortunately, I don't know if anybody sent them the message, but they're 1-6 now, which means, guys, are we the farm teams? Yeah, bro. I hate to tell you this, but you are indeed the farm teams. I mean, they go and they take this loss to BLG now. The only win has been against FPX. Yeah.
And it's so crazy to say that FPX's only win has been against IG.
Yeah.
But, yeah,
What
you know,
was
if you
that?
can't, you know, Team WE, as we talked about, was a team that was unable to beat the teams ahead of them, the big five that were ahead of them, which has now become the big four in JDG. For obvious reasons. If you haven't been around and paying attention to that, JDG's been pretty awful.
Yeah.
And, you know, you went 0-10 in Split 2 against them, 2-12 because you had this nice playoff run, but it's right back to your regularly scheduled programming. They are now 2-17 against these guys.
Yeah. You really, really need to be finding these extra wins versus some of the top teams. You can't just be farming the teams beneath you. That means you get 2 wins versus FPX in the current standings, right? That's not good enough for WE.
Are you sure? They might lose. Who knows? They might only get 1.
It's rough. It is rough out here. I could see this WE team being able to pick themselves up a win versus a JDG. Maybe. You know, there's a possibility, right? An AO that's on a particularly bad day, there's a possibility, right? But it just hasn't been working out for them. I think for BLG, it's interesting to talk about this as a matchup you're kind of disappointed in them for not 2-0ing, because I agree. I very much do agree, but BLG have been the better team when it comes to actually being able to close out a clean 2-0 series. Top Esports have been egregious for that in Split 2, and beginning to show that again in this Split number 3. They are taking 3 games to beat a lot of these teams, and I do think that matters. I think it's worth noting how many of these series are clean 2-0s and how many of them are 2-1s, because once we get into best of 5s, right, once you have yourself another 2 potential matches, these 2-1s turn into 2-2s. They turn into situations where you're getting into a game 5, and at that point, with so many champions off of the board, anything can happen. It can really toss things up into the air.
You know, I'm thinking of that play that we just saw a couple moments ago on the top side. Are you willing to give Tivers the MVP of this game?
I think so, right? That big flash play
Look at him go! Look at him go!
Yeah, Tibbers was all over this game. I mean, Tibbers were dealing the
Bro,
most damage.
schmoovin'.
I think Tibbers in this game was dealing more damage than like half of the WE members. You know, this
More
was
than
crazy.
Taeyoon.
Yeah, by far.
Taeyoon did some good damage later on against On when he stepped on the trap. So you know,
That's true. That's true. Yeah, he probably doubled his damage total in a couple of moments right towards the end, and not necessarily through Taeyoon's fault. Right at the point at which the rest of the map collapses, there's kind of nothing you can do. There were some weird plays. BLG On getting himself caught in this top side. I was like, you've killed yourself for a reward here. Wasn't particularly worthwhile, but they were 8,000-9,000 gold ahead at that point in the game, right? It doesn't particularly matter. These are mistakes that you do worry would maybe cost a BLG going forwards, you know, up against some of these top teams. But actually, they haven't really struggled with top teams. BLG have been pretty weird in that versus the top teams, they've been very clean 2-0s, taking these nice series, not too worried about what's going on. It's versus the JDGs and the WEs of the world where all of a sudden they're having a couple worries.
Yeah, the only team they have yet to play so far in the round robin is now IG. So we'll see when they get their first game against them. They speculated next BLG jungler. That's the last thing we need. The last thing we need is an Andy with Smite coming out of Fog of War, dropping Tibbers on my head as an AD carry in Emerald. I'm going to absolutely lose my mind. Bloxxer, real talk for an MVP here. Who are you thinking? I don't actually know. I'm kind of like torn. I think that Knight had a really good performance this game. I think that Shadow was pretty good. I think that Bin was superb this game.
Yeah.
But felt like he was just on a side lane too much for me to be like, yes, he's the MVP, but you can be an MVP through side laning. The Shy has shown that. So, you know what? Absolutely. I think I've convinced myself into saying Bin. I don't know about
You're going to say the words Bin? I think I'm going to say the word Knight. I think Knight was really impressive in this game, and I think it's especially impressive after he'd been having a pretty rough series. So
he had those 2 good team fights. Yeah, no. That's
he had a couple really good members. But if On hadn't killed himself for that ward, I would have wanted On. I thought he was really nice with a lot of these engages. Yeah,
you know what? I think you're right. I think Knight did end up deserving this in the end. I almost forgot about those super easy fights that were lined up for him.
And it's forgettable. It happens.
Yeah, you know, this is true. I'm sure Karis won't be forgetting anytime soon.
Hey, Karis had a better performance versus Knight than anybody was expecting.
Yeah, it was just, you know, I think of that last play. That last play was the thing that...
that last play was miserable at that point, especially because there's nothing you can do. Once you've made the mistake of stepping up to that bush, you're dead. There's nothing you can do to really stop that one from coming through. I did think that Karis had a better overall performance. He looked decent in Game 1, really good in Game 2. But in the end, it doesn't matter. BLG, they picked themselves up another win, still undefeated here in the LPL Split 3.
Yep, they show up, they play one bad game, two good ones, and they get out. And much like BLG, it's time for Bloxxer and I to get out, as taking you through the rest of the night will be Alk Battery and Rafa for Weibo Gaming and Top Esports, and then our last game, which will be JDG versus IG. So we're going to go ahead and take a short break, get the caster swap going, and when the stream returns, Weibo Gaming and Top Esports will be coming at you. See you soon.